starting on our fourth mother sauce today, and it is a tomato sauce. Tomato sauce can be made from either fresh tomatoes and or canned and peeled tomatoes. Today we're going to work with actually half and half. I've done some tomato concasse, peeled them, and made it with a little bit of basil, garlic, and oregano in, and just to enhance the flavor of the tomato sauce. And the rest of the sauce will be made with traditional peeled tomatoes. A tomato sauce can have a very good sweet, fruity flavor based on the quality of your tomato. And when you're making a tomato sauce, you're not using a lot of heavy seasonings because you want to give it its own character from the tomatoes itself and the tomato pulp. Today we're going to start first with the vegetables and garlic, and we're going to start with 1 tablespoon of garlic, and we're going to brown this garlic slightly. And this will be a traditional classical type of style sauce that we're going to do today. And we got 1 tablespoon of garlic, and we're going to actually cook it up to 5 minutes and lightly brown it. And we're using 12 ounces of butter in this recipe, so happily, and we'll mix that with 6 ounces of flour. We're going to brown the garlic. You don't want to do it too fast because you do not want the garlic to actually burn and then you have to start all over again. The other thing is you don't want to burn and scorch your butter in the bottom of the pot as well. Garlic comes out, the more you cook it, the more you brown it, the more flavor profile you get as you cook the garlic. But at a certain point, once you get it too hot, too brown, too dark, you actually overpower the flavor in your butter stock. Next, we're going to add vegetables. And this is one recipe we do not use carrots in, compared to a mirepoix. We're going to use celery and onions to make our stock with. And we're just going to lightly saute these until they're lightly and tender cooked. You don't want to overcook them, you don't want to brown them. And that's one thing with the tomato sauce, you do not want to brown your vegetables as you're cooking them to get ready to add your flour. This will take about another 5 minutes, and we'll stir the vegetables, coat them evenly with the butter garlic blend, and get ready for our beef stock. The tomato sauce itself can be used in many different ways. One way is definitely making it into a spaghetti type sauce, a Creole sauce, and many other different variations. Good for making into lasagna, mastacholi, stuffed mastacholi, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things you can do from this mother sauce to create a variety of different recipes. Okay, now we've cooked our vegetables, we've rendered them down. We're starting to get a nice clear color from the onions and the celery. And that's what we're looking for. Got to add our roux first. And then we'll add the beef stock. This roux we want to cook for about 10 minutes with the vegetables. And again, we want to get the roux nice and shiny with the vegetables. And in the end, the tomatoes will overpower the color, so we're not going to get a high gloss type of sauce as we did in the past. So again, evenly stir in your roux, no lumps, and then let it go ahead and simmer. This will be a medium body type of roux. You don't want a dark roux, you want a white roux. And if you go with the dark roux, it'll be overpowering as far as into the flavor of the recipe, and that's not what you're looking for. There's one thing, and as far as making a tomato sauce, if you have tomatoes that are too acidy, there is one trick you can do to neutralize your sauce, and that is to actually do a fine dice of carrots and add to the recipe. Carrots absorb and neutralize acid in tomato sauces, and that's something a lot of people really don't know about, and that's another little trick. Another trick is if you're making a recipe and you actually over season your sauce with salt and too much salt, you can take, and an old trick is to take a potato and cut it in half and drop it in the sauce once you've completed your batch. And you can go ahead and cook your potato in the sauce. Once that potato is absorbed as much liquid as possible, which sucks out the salt content, and then you can add another potato if you need to extract more salt. And that's an old wives' tale, but believe me, it does work. I've done it, and that's a little trick. So if you do make a mistake with salt, you do have one option. You completely can't fix it all the way, but you can salvage your recipe.
ProStart teaches you lots of cooking tricks that may otherwise take you years to learn.
And we've got 3 quarts of beef stock. We're going to add to our roux and our vegetable mirepoix. And this now you have to be real quick with so you don't lump up, and you have to make sure you stir very quickly. And again, this is a little different style recipe that we've made earlier. Now we got to let it come back up to a simmer so we don't put too much moisture in and don't over liquefy the recipe. To make this a spaghetti sauce, what we do once we complete the recipe, we would then take and make the sub recipe, which would be the spaghetti sauce. And what we would do is then probably take and saute a little bit of onions, and then add your tomato sauce base recipe. Once you add your tomato sauce, you'd add garlic. Well, you'd actually add garlic with your onions as you're sauteing, then add your tomato sauce, and then add your basil, oregano, thyme, and to get it more of your Italian zesty flavor. And again, this tomato sauce is made with a beef stock, and so we're making this one with beef. Tomato sauces can be made of all different sorts and types as far as time frames go. You can make a tomato sauce in 10 minutes, or you can, in this case, this one will be an hour-and-a-half method. So there's a lot of different variations on tomato sauces that makes it so, like in a a la minute type of restaurant, you can make a sauce in 10 minutes a la carte to order.
That's a restaurant that cooks to order. Dishes are prepared once the customer is in the restaurant and has ordered, not in advance.
Okay, we've let this cook 5 to 7 minutes now. We're ready to add our tomato product. And we're going to go ahead and add some diced tomatoes that are peeled, and we'll add that first. And these are a small to medium diced tomato. And the reason for that is we are going to puree it, so it'll make it come out much nicer. Next, we're going to use a tomato puree. And what I've done is I've actually made homemade puree, and just want to show you a comparison of homemade puree as compared to